What's going on, ladies and gents? We are live. New England Cigar Militia live. We are live with Terrance Riley from Aganorsa Leaf today. We're going to sit back, relax, have a good conversation, talk about some cigars, talk about some sports, see what upcoming projects Terrance has in store for us. So I'm going to kick the intro, and while I'm kicking the intro, anybody has any questions? I'm waiting for people to get on, first of all. So if anybody has any questions, please ask. I do this for y'all. I don't do this for me. So I don't know what happened with that intro. So that's going to have to be edited. But here we go. Let's try it one more time. Otherwise, we just fuck it and we run it through without you. All right, what's going on? What's happening? I got Terrance here. He's coming live from Miami. Everybody who's tuning in, thank you for tuning in. I'm at the 908 Cigar Bar, as you can see behind me, the official home of New England Cigar Militia. These guys have been rocking with me since day one, so I'm always going to rock out with them. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. I came in a little late. I was expecting to do this about 4 o'clock, but I always seem to run into problems. It's just my normal thing. At this point, I don't care. But anyway, I'm going to pop Terrance in. We're going to talk and smoke some cigars. What's up? What's happening, brother?
What's going on, my friend?
Did you see the chopped up intro?
Yeah, but it's still great, man. What a great intro. Did you do that yourself, or who did that?
I can't take credit for that. Man, I wish I could.
It's a great intro.
Yeah, we're bigger than the NFL, I guess.
Yeah. Well, now.
Yeah, when I seen that intro, I actually was supposed to be gold. And I said to the guy, I was like, just make it, the way you make your intro, the same exact way. And he made it like that. And I was like, oh my God, forget the gold. I was like, we'll keep it the way it is. It came out amazing. I really enjoy it every time I get to watch it.
It looks awesome.
It's pretty great. I mean, thought the logo. So, how's your day going out there in Miami?
It's a nice Friday afternoon. I can't complain. It was a hectic week, a lot going on, but now's the best part. Get to relax and have some cigars and talk cigars and sports.
Exactly, man. I can't wait, man. Did you watch the game last night?
I saw like half of it. I saw like the second quarter and a little bit of the third, and then I just went to bed.
Yeah, I watched some of the game, man. I'll be honest with you, man. I think I love the Patriots, man, and I'm pretty sure you're a Patriots fan.
America's team.
Man, America's real team. Not the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys fans.
Yeah, the Roman Empire was great, 2,000 years ago. Now not so much. And same thing with the Cowboys in the 70s. Wonderful team. In the 90s, pretty good. And but now it's the Patriots are America's team.
For real, man. So yeah, I just think this kid from KC, man, that 10-year contract he got.
Yeah.
They got all their starters coming back. They got 20 out of 22 on the offense.
Yeah,
after a championship.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of. I'm not sure the stats, but they look pretty good, man. They have a pretty good team.
So while we're at it, first thing I want to get into is I want to sit here and talk about how you have this, which I was explaining to you before we started talking. This box, how was this box created? Because like I told everybody, man, this had me skeptical. I was like, do I want to smoke that? I'm not going to try that. And then I really got around because I just seen so many people flooding the market and actually smoking this cigar that I was like, yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story with that brand. There's a gentleman he's got a site called Pravada Cigar Club, and we've been doing some projects with him and some private label stuff and various things. And he's like, "Hey, I have an idea for you. Your packaging is very traditional, and you guys have great cigars, but I think for a certain segment of the market, um, they just kind of miss it because it looks not it doesn't look like a lot of other things, but it's the same stylistically as a lot of other brands, very classic looking packaging. And I have this design, and if you guys can use it, and I'd love to contribute that way. He didn't want any money or anything; he just wanted to kind of help out. So I was like, okay. And then when he showed it to me, I was kind of like, man, that's kind of bold colors for cigar industry. You're not really used to seeing purple and orange in a box. And then I showed it to our sales team, and the sales team they also kind of had the same reaction. They were like, "Man, that doesn't look like a cigar box. That's not how cigars are packaged." And they were kind of hesitant about us coming out with something like that. But he was very methodical. He's like, "Listen, he had a reason for everything the way it looks," and so we went ahead with it. And plus, the blend is incredible, and it really worked out. What people basically saw is that it made them pay attention to it. So most of the people really loved the packaging, and then some didn't. But they either were curious about it. They're like, "Wow, look at those colors. Well, I wonder what that tastes like," or they just saw the people that really loved it and like yourself, and ended up smoking it after hearing so many good things about it. So it's been a home run for us. We've made 2 Vitolas, and we do it. We did 1 Vitola in January and another in July. And they both sold out immediately. I mean, they got in and they were gone. So we've been very successful with that.
Yeah, I put these in my special box at the bottom of my humidor.
Yeah, the Supreme Leaf.
And I'm down to 2. I got 2 left. And then your logo, I mean, where was this logo created? You know what I mean? Obviously, you got to know something about this logo. I mean, this logo, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the Hulk of tobacco. Like that's what I would compare it to, like the Hulk of tobacco.
I may take that from you. So when I joined the company at the time was called Casa Fernandez, and the problem with the name Casa Fernandez is there's AJ Fernandez, and obviously he's very successful, and so there was confusion with somebody would say, "Oh, I love your cigars, I love the Oval," or I'd see a post where someone's like, "AJ makes great cigars," and it was one of our cigars. And it didn't really convey what was special about Aganorsa or the company, I should say. And the growing company is called Aganorsa, and our tobacco is really well known internally throughout the industry. It's really highly regarded. We sell it to people like Drew Estate, Fuente Newman, Altadis, the guys that make Romeo and Julieta and Monte Cristo. So internally, people really love their tobacco, and that's what we were famous for. But the consumer didn't really know about us, and so it made more sense to change the name of the company to what was special about us, which is the tobacco. So we called it Aganorsa Leaf. And the arm design, that was before. I can't take any credit for that. That was before my time with the company. They had been working on logos with some guy, I think a South African guy, and he came up with that. And so then we made that the company logo and started incorporating it into our packaging. And as you can see on my shirt, it's become. It was a good move. It really helped change the perception of who we are.
Now, in you guys, what I see from you guys is I feel like you guys are like in 2 aspects of the cigar industry. I feel like you make your own brand and then you collaborate with other brands.
Yeah. No, go on. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, and you collaborate with other brands. So I see that a lot, and I mean, I feel like you guys get a stronghold on that.
Yeah. So when I came in, the priority had traditionally been 1, growing tobacco, which they grow 17,000 bales of tobacco a year, which is or harvest, I should say, which is a massive amount. It's the most in Nicaragua, and then they make cigars for brands like Illusion, Foundation, Warped, Viaje, HVC, and many more. I could sit here for 20 minutes and ramble off names. And that was they were kind of happy with that for a long time. And then they finally wanted to focus on their own brands, which they have had for many years and have been in the market, but they just never really promoted very enthusiastically or well, quite frankly. And thank God, because I have a job because of it. And so my job has been to put emphasis on our proprietary marks. So it's a great business because we have great partners that we sell tobacco to and make cigars for. And then we also have our own brands, which have grown dramatically over the past 3 years.
Yeah, and I've noticed it came up and just went boom right into the cigar market. And you being from the New England area, specifically Massachusetts, really intrigued me on that whole situation because I didn't know at first you're from Massachusetts. I did not know.
So my father, even though Terrance Riley is about a gringo name as you can get, my father is his mother's Cuban Spanish, and he grew up in Miami, and he met my mom. My mom briefly lived in Miami, but she's from Massachusetts, and so my parents, when they got married, moved back to Mass, and I grew up in Mass, and went to UMass Amherst, and spent most of my life up in the area. But I have family through my father's mother's side that are in the cigar industry. My uncle is a gentleman named Manuel Casada, who's done the Nat Sherman brands. Previously, Fonseca, they recently sold the trademark to my father, the Casa Magna brand. And I worked for him for about 10 years. So that was how I got into cigars, is through that side of the family. And I've been in Miami for about 15 years now.
And you said you didn't smoke at all before cigars.
Yeah, I didn't smoke at all, and when I spent the summer when I was younger in the factory. I went down there. To be honest with you, I mean, Dominican women aren't bad looking. It was before I was married, and chase women down there. And I was like, oh, well, I have a family that has a factory. I can work there, and that'll be a cool experience, and then go have a good time. Go to the beach and things. And what I saw when I was there is how much work goes into making a cigar, how many people were involved, and making sure that it's right. If the guy that puts too much glue on the band and you tear the wrapper when you take off the band, the guy goes, bad cigar. He doesn't say, oh, well, everything about this was great except that. So everyone's got to do their job right. That's hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. And then I'd go over to my uncle's house on Sundays, and we'd play cards and have some drinks and lunch and smoke cigars. And so at first it was just like, I had, everyone else was having a cigar. So I said, what the heck, I'll have a cigar too. And then I just grew from there. And I've been in the business a little bit over 10 years now, I think 12 years.
Now you said you're never going to make your own cigar. Is that never going to happen? Or?
Yeah, I mean, with FDA and all that stuff, I don't know if I really would ever want to get into it. Coming out with a brand. Well,
I mean, like Aganorsa.
Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe, I always think of doing like a private thing. The issue is that, again, I work for the company, and my job is to promote the company. Like, even when we do events and things like that, the emphasis is always on the tobacco we grow. We do these events where you smoke individual components of our tobacco. We call them fumas or porritos, and you get so the emphasis is all about the tobacco, and I'm kind of loath to take any emphasis away from that and put it on myself. So that's kind of where we are. But who knows? I mean, maybe someday there'll be an Irish, the Irish Nicaraguan or something, or the Irish Cube. I don't know, something along those lines.
Now, where do you have those events? That sounds interesting. Something I might want to do.
Yeah, so we do them all over the country. I mean, COVID has shut them down. We've done a lot of virtual ones, although we're still doing in physical locations, so long as the law allows us to. And you just kind of have to follow us, and we post about that kind of stuff where it'll be. And it's great because usually a lot of times in an event, what happens is there's so many events, or there was, people would come in, and the guy just got off of work. He just wanted to relax and have a cigar, and somebody's like, "Hey, buy 3 cigars and get one free," or whatever it is. And this way, this approach it's more about education. So we say, "Hey, try our fumas, see what they see if you like our tobacco, see how we create that signature taste we're known for, and if you like it, then you try one of our cigars." And that's been very effective because they get to try the Corojo that we grow and our Criollo, and those 2 seeds are in everything. So it's really the backbone of our flavor profile, and each one has a distinctive flavor. And we don't get into blueberry pie and all this stuff, but you can take an average consumer and have him smoke those fumas, and he's going to taste what we're telling. Our Corojo, it makes you salivate. It's got spice up front and a lingering sweetness. Our Criollo is earthy. It'll give you a little salt on the roof of your palate. And the guy will smoke it who's been doing this for 30 years and doesn't buy into any of that stuff and go, "Oh man, I taste that salt on the Criollo." and then you kind of Cheech and Chong it at the end, and you smoke them together, and you see how they combine to create a different flavor, and that's kind of like a light bulb for a lot of people. They're like, wow, I didn't realize that how all this process works, and that really has turned a lot of people onto our cigars.
Aganorsa experience is crazy. Mike Damari just chimed in.
He's a good man. Good old Mike.
Yeah, he's all right when he sends me cigars.
Well, everyone's all right when they do that.
Nah, he's a good dude. Yeah, I've really been fascinated by your company. The more and more I look into it, that's half the reason why I wanted to get in on it. And then when I found out you were from here, I was just like kind of mind blown. I'm like, kid from Massachusetts in the tobacco industry the way you are. Now that you've told me how you got into the tobacco industry, it makes a lot more sense. I mean, I didn't expect you to have family members. I thought you were straight
gringo.
Yeah, I thought you were straight Irish. South Boston.
Yeah, well, Terrance Riley, man, it's easy to mistake that,
Yeah. So you go in there and you fool people. Everybody in the whole neighborhood's like, yeah, he don't know nothing. The gringo don't know nothing about tobacco. Meanwhile, you work for the company,
Yeah, it's good. People overlook you, and then you get the advantage.
Right. So how many farms do you guys have?
I think 10 or so. I'd have to check. We're the second largest landowners in Nicaragua, because the company has pigs and cattle as well. So in terms of private landowners, we're the second largest ones behind Florida Caña. So it's a massive operation, and it's interesting to really be able to go down there and see it all, because I've been in the industry a long time, but the scale that they have is amazing. I mean, how much tobacco they're growing and processing is incredible.
Now, have you been down in Nicaragua or Dominican recently?
Last time I've been in Nicaragua twice this year, but I haven't been down since February, because it's basically impossible to get in there. You got to take a charter flight at this point, and then it's a pain in the neck. So I haven't been able to go since February. But generally speaking, I'm down there 3-4 times a year, and then it's short trips though. I go for maybe 3-4 days usually, and I basically go in and go to the factories, go check out some farms, check out some new, if there's growing a new varietal, check out what it tastes like, work on the blends that we have coming out, make sure they're coming along where we want them to be, make sure they have all the materials. It just basically, it's easier with everybody, but certainly in Latin culture to do things face to face than it is to do things virtually or through emails or anything else. So it's good to be able to get down there and spend FaceTime with them.
Now, what is this? And so Mike Damari just posted this. Is the pork available for pork purchase?
So as I said, we have the pig farms and cattle farms in Nicaragua, and it's available in Nicaragua. I don't know if they sell outside of Nicaragua or outside of Central America. I know they sell other places in Central America, but I'm not sure if they sell into the United States, to be honest with you. But I have had Aganorsa pork on many occasions, and it's delicious.
Aganorsa pork, which if I can see it now, a 5-pack of cigars with your purchase, you get some Aganorsa pork.
Yeah, you get 3 strips. You get 3 strips of bacon.
Oh man, yeah. So I definitely got to get out there. I'm hoping that once the end of the year comes, December, I can just go. After December, obviously, because I'm actually going to Aruba, which I've never been to.
Ah, nice.
I'm going to check out there. Which I'm not really, I'm not a Cuban cigar guy. A lot of people love Cuban cigars. I need some oomph to my cigars, like some full body flavor. And you got the one that I'm actually going to try this week, the Lunatic. What's up with that?
Yeah, so the Lunatic got its name from, if you look at some of the sizes that we make, we have an 880, 4 3/4 by 70. So there's some really big. There's an 8 by 60. So there's really big sizes that you have to be a little nuts to, I guess, smoke. But there's also short robusto. There's some less insane sizes that go with it, and it's a really successful cigar because it provides great value. And it's been on the top 10 of Cigar Aficionado's top 25, and it's also been the best value of the year. So it's a great price point. We're vertically integrated, so it's a huge advantage for us that we grow, we manufacture, and we distribute. So that gives us the ability to put out a cigar that would if somebody else doesn't own a factory or doesn't grow or doesn't distribute or doesn't do one of those steps, somebody else has to do it, and they generally don't work for free. So that's factored into the price. So for us, we're able to come out with some really incredible blends that guys can smoke every day. That would cost a few dollars more if they were buying them, and we weren't vertically integrated.
Yeah, so you basically do from seed all the way through production.
Yep.
All the way to the consumer, pretty much.
Well, yeah, and that allows us to keep. Yeah, that allows us to keep our signature flavor from, because the thing is, you can mess up tobacco at any point. It's kind of like a piece of meat. If you buy a filet mignon and you overcook it, now you got shoe leather. It doesn't make any difference that it was grade A beef. It's now just to use on the bottom of your shoe. And same thing with tobacco. So if you got to grow it right, cure it right, ferment it right, age it right, blend it right, and because we control that whole process, it allows us to ensure that the characteristics that we want to manifest in the tobacco or the final product make their way all the way down to the cigar itself.
Makes sense. Now, do you have any other cigars you're going to try to push out this year, or you think you're done for the year?
Yeah, we may have some small things that may end up at the end of this year. It's kind of time wise. We'll see. We just had 3 releases this summer. We had the second size of Supreme Leaf, like you were talking about. We had our Lunatic Torch, which is a brushfoot cigar. We take off the wrapper from the first half inch, so you're just smoking binder and filler, and that gives you the ability to see how our Corojo wrapper influences the blend. You kind of get it kind of wakes up the palate, the brushfoot, where it's not really balanced, but you get a lot of different flavors in there, and then it hits the wrapper and it becomes more complex and nuanced and rounded. And so that's been a successful cigar for us. And then we also we have what are called Aganorsa Select accounts, which are accounts that are big supporters of ours. And we did 250 boxes of a cigar called the Aniversario Cuban 109. It's a box pressed Maduro that we make in Miami. We make some cigars in Miami, and this one is rolled entirely by one roller, and that's been really successful for us.
So Mikey D also asked the challenges with creating such great cigars for other brands while also selling Aganorsa house lines.
To be honest with you, it's not really that difficult with the size we're in. Number one, growing wise, just to give you an idea, the factory for all the brands from the factory utilizes maybe 10 to 15% of the entire tobacco we grow. The other 85% we sell off. So we have as much as we need for ourselves. And then one of the cool combinations is that the people we work with that we make blends for, they all have their own palate. And these guys, like if you look at Lucian, Dion Giolito, Renier Lorenzo from HVC, Nick Melillo. These are people that go down and they have great palates, and they I mean, Dion Giolito, like, you'd think he owns the factory. I mean, he goes there, he goes to the tables, he's looking at how they're bunching, he's picking out individual tobaccos he wants to build blends around. Nick Melillo was the buyer for Drew Estate for many years. So these aren't guys that are going down and picking out blend C out of A through D or whatever. They're going down and they're utilizing their palates to create what their expression of Aganorsa, based on their tastes.
Yeah, I heard Dion's like a mad scientist.
Yeah, no, he's an incredibly intelligent guy, very cerebral, and very much. I mean, he spends a lot. It's really interesting if you have the opportunity to ever hear him talk about how he blends and his process. It's fascinating. I had the pleasure of when they had the Puro Sabor, which is the cigar fest in Nicaragua. He was down there for that, and he gave a presentation on how he blends, and it was. I mean, I was fascinated. I mean, I learned a lot. So. All the guys we work with are some of the best indications of the quality we have because they know quality and they work with us.
Phenomenal. If anybody who's in the chat has any questions, feel free to chime in. I'll put them up on the screen for Terrance. This is my first time chatting with Terrance. He knows his shit. a lot more than I do.
I try to sound good.
yeah. I'm marketing scheme, right? So so I know you guys say, you want to create great products. I heard you say this before, and you're not really a swag guy, man, but I feel like the swag's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Yeah. So So I agree with you. To give you the short answer, I think it's important. Like guys ask us all the time, yeah, do you have any hats we could buy? Do you have any shirts? Do you have any of this? So we do some things. You can see I'm wearing one. We've done some polo shirts, but in small quantities. We've made some patches.
You sent me some, which I thank you for that too.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
I'll be putting them on T-shirts or not T-shirts, dress shirts, and then giving them away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep one though.
Yeah, no, yeah. Keep one for yourself, for God's sake. And so it is important in a way, and it's a great way to advertise. People, walk around, hey, what's that? And so it has a value. On the other side of it, I don't want anybody buying cigars because they're going to get, a patch or a hat or anything else. I want people to be enjoying the product, and as a company, we want people to be enjoying the product because they love it, and that's really the key. And then yes, we want to have swag and things like that, but we don't ever want that to outshine the product itself.
I mean, it's tough with the logo though, bro. The logo's fire, dude.
Yeah, and to give credit to Nick Melillo and D'Angelito, they both were very heavy proponents of us of utilizing this. Like I said, the logo had existed, but it had never really been used much, and they both said that's a great logo. You should use it.
Now, Mike got another question, and then Chris got another question, which is going to throw you for the loop. We always got to throw you for at least one loop, right?
I'm a professional, man. No worries.
So, for the people who don't have the expertise, like Dion and Nick, he said, does Aganorsa blend cigars for brand owners who may not necessarily be hands-on?
Yeah, and let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with, like, for instance, for myself, and again, I've worked in factories. I would say I have more of a knowledge of tobacco than the average person. But I would never, if I were to create a brand for myself, I wouldn't do what Dion does. I would go down there and I would say, this is what I'm looking for. And they would make something, and I would say, you know what, and maybe I would get a little bit more technical. I'd say, okay, maybe we need more criollo or something. But at the end of the day, I would rely heavily on the blender to come up with something that I like. And then you utilize that blend. But so we certainly work with people that don't have that level of experience, but they know what they like. And a lot of times, I mean, to be honest with you, knowing the market is equally important. So somebody, maybe doesn't have the technical expertise and talk in terms of like put, another half leaf of this or that, but knows that, for instance, that they have a store or they worked in a store for many years and they know that this type of style is either underrepresented or sells well or whatever it is. And so we create blends and they say, okay, yeah, that's the blend I want. And so that's very common as well. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it would be how I would probably blend for the most part if I were to make a cigar.
Now, here we go.
Here we go.
This is your favorite question. And I'm actually going to answer this question too.
Oh, good.
Who's your man crush in the cigar industry?
There's so many to choose from. So many, dashing, great, charismatic individuals. It would be very hard for me to choose any one. So, but there's lots to choose from.
Well, we'll get you kind of there with this question right after I answer. So my man crush, Pete Johnson.
There you go. I can't blame you.
Pete Johnson.
Great cigars, very charismatic guy. I can see that.
I'm not saying I'm going to cuddle with him, but
listen, this is a judgment-free zone. You do as you choose,
man. So what brand do you smoke besides Aganorsa that you say is outside the box your go-to, like one of your favorite brands?
So I like a lot of stuff. I obviously I was involved in stuff in Casada, so a lot of those cigars I still really enjoy and appreciate. The Casa Magna, Domus Magnus, that Oktoberfest. Again, those were personal cigars that were personal to me because I was involved in them. Aladino up in Honduras, they have great cigars. Again, I could list Steve Saka, Skip Martin, Jassom Kroll, Espinosa, and the Protocol Boys. Fuente. There's what I like generally when I'm looking for something to smoke is I like one is if I'm not going to smoke an Aganorsa or an Aganorsa made product, I want something that's going to be different, that's not in the same kind of realm, because I feel that we have a really distinctive flavor, and so if I want that, I'll just smoke Aganorsa. I like that is a good representation of that country or that region or that style, and so there's whether it's mild, or really full, or it just depends on the mood I'm in. But there's lots of great cigars out there.
Now, I have to ask this question. Well, so I heard your man crushes Groover.
No, I think you have it reversed. Yeah, I'm a victim of his stalking. So that's not for your viewers. That's going to sound very bizarre because our rep from Florida, to give some context, so you don't think I'm a psychopath, is a gentleman named Jeff Groover, and somehow it became a joke when I would travel with him. It kind of like, you snap a picture when you're on the road, and he would always kind of be in the background with his eyes wide open. Kind of looked like he was a stalker. So I started referring to him as my stalker, and it just kind of caught on, and now he is one.
Now the question everybody makes me ask all the time, and I always tell them, you give me $20,000 and I'll do it, is what's the minimum order for a Cigar Militia exclusive? They always make me ask it, and Mike always makes me ask it every week. I feel bad for everybody because they all
2,000 cigars per size, or 2,000, and we'll do whatever you like. Although again, sometimes it's honestly, it really just depends on the. I always say when we make projects for people, the door is always open. The more complicated it gets, the more you need to have more volume. But to be honest with you, it usually doesn't come down to us. It comes down to like the person. Like we don't make bands. You have to provide us with bands, and the person doesn't really want to or know how to go about that or whatever. I mean, we help out how we can, but it's usually not the cigar itself that's the issue. It's more, all the other stuff that's involved in it.
The boxes, the bands.
Yeah, if there is boxes, or exactly bands.
But you said you were virtually integrated, so I'm kind of confused with the.
Right. So so technical vertical integration, would be you make your bands, you make your boxes, you make the cellophane. We don't do that. But in terms of the tobacco, it's all under our control. I don't know if there's another word for that. In terms of the tobacco process, it's vertically integrated. But we don't make boxes, we don't make bands, we don't make cellophane.
Okay.
We don't make ribbons that we put on the foot. I mean, that stuff is all purchased.
Now, what about a Thanksgiving cigar or a Christmas cigar? You guys ever gonna do any actual like a holiday type cigar?
Well, Viaje, who we make a lot of cigars for, I think has Thanksgiving down. I think he would probably object to us coming out with a Thanksgiving cigar. I've tried to stay away more. When I was at Casada, for instance, we did the Oktoberfest series, and we had the Casada Keg, which came out St. Patrick's Day. And since I've been here, I've stayed more away from that kind of themed project for the most part. We've tried to keep it more really geared about the tobacco itself and not let anything kind of distract from that. Not to say that there's anything wrong either way. Our strong suit is really is the tobacco. Like I said, if you don't like the cigar itself from us, there's lots of other people that are going to have better swag and better boxes and better all sorts of stuff. For us, it's really about promoting the tobacco.
I could see the label though. Like if I made a cigar with you, I could see the label visualized in my brain. It would be crazy.
Hey,
the label would be my militia guy with one arm, and the arm would be the Aganorsa leaf.
Yeah, there you go, man. You just have to. I could put you in touch with people that can make stuff like that for
you. We might have to think about it.
Yeah.
So we got Allison. Allison chimed in. How you doing, Allison? Who blows your mind with their knowledge of cigars in the industry that you could sit and listen to for hours?
I mean, there's tons of people. I mean, I've had the very when I was earlier in my career, I had the benefit of listening to my uncle Manuel and guys like Benji Menendez and Daniel Nunez and the Plasencia family. And Hinky Kellner, I've had the pleasure of sitting with him, and then here Eduardo and our staff in Nicaragua, Jacinto Iglesias, who people don't really know, but is one of our Cuban agronomists. And then guys, I mean, again, like I said, guys like Dion and Steve Saka, and there's, to be honest with you, for the guys that are really into this game, you can learn a lot from any of them. I mean, really you can learn something from almost everybody, whether in what to do or what not. But anytime I'm around anybody in the industry, I'll sit like I'm friends with John Carney from La Flor Dominicana. When we hang out, like I'll ask him questions. I'll say, hey, what do you think, or why do you do this, or what are your thoughts on whatever? And I'm always trying to learn from other people because nobody knows everything.
Now, what's your go-to cigar as for your brand? Like, what's a cigar that you always come back to that Aganorsa makes?
I would say that the two I smoke the most, and there's reasons beyond just taste in both cases, is the Guardian of the Farm Rambo and the Short Robusto Lunatic. Those are the two I smoke the most. For not only because I like them, two, because we have them all the time, like the Supreme Leaf and some of the limited stuff. In Spanish, there's an expression, no fumes la ganancia, don't smoke the profits. If you only have like 250 boxes of something, every one you smoke is one you can't sell. So I don't smoke those as often, other than for validation to make sure that they're smoking right. But so one is the Guardian, the Farm, which was a collab with Kyle Gellis from Warped, and the Short Robusto Lunatic are available all the time, and they're short smokes. So I'm busy a lot, and I don't always have time to smoke a Churchill or a larger cigar. And they're cigars that have a flavor profile that I can go out in my morning coffee and smoke them, and I'm not overwhelmed. And I can have them after a meal in the evening, and they're still really flavorful. So it's that kind of combination that's probably leads to those being the ones I smoke the most.
And this one I'll chime in on that Mike Damari says, the Black Friday Firecracker coming soon. Me personally, I smoked the Black Friday, the regular cigar. I got them from two guys. And I truly feel that will be the best firecracker so far.
It's a great blend, and obviously Dave's a great partner, and that by the way, that's from HVC, who's Renier Lorenzo, who's the brand owner, is a great guy, and he's doing some great stuff. And Black Friday, but for his new hotcakes, I think is probably my favorite thing he's done. But the Black Friday is awesome, man.
Yeah, I just think that in a firecracker is going to be a kicker.
Plus, I think they're going to juice it up a little bit too. Again, to be honest with you, I don't even know. Maybe Mike knows more. He's got connections to two guys. But all I know is they're making the firecracker for Black Friday.
We got. Listen, it says Facebook user, right? So I can't tell who it is. But when I see certain comments from somebody, I already know who it is. So this is definitely Ronnie from Secreto.
Oh yes, I know. I know.
Mike Damari, Habibi, Mr. Loverman. he's out of control. Oh
yeah,
my!
I know
God.
Ronnie very well.
Ronnie's hilarious, man. I can't talk to Ronnie because Ronnie just makes me laugh. I can't even breathe sometimes. Terrance knows, but Dave won't let him say.
Terrance knows what?
Orlando Perez in the building. Yeah. It's a marketing plan. Marketing genius is in effect.
Yeah, to be honest with you, for the other brands that were like, I hardly know any. Like, people sometimes will be like, that new Viaje, and like I don't deal with that stuff on any sort of regular basis. So I really don't even know that much about their projects. I usually say, hey, just ask them because I'm not involved in them in any way. So I leave it up to them to give the details.
What woman in the cigar industry do you look up to?
No, a lot of people. I mean, one of the first that comes to my mind, Jessica Hudson from Just for Him Cigar Shop in Springfield, Missouri. She's just an incredible woman and runs an awesome shop with her husband, Christian Hudson, and she's really somebody I admire in this business. Like I said, any shop I go into, whoever it is, whatever gender, color, creed, whatever it is, as long as they're cool, I try to learn something from them and pick them up. So I feel that there's something to learn from everybody.
Who's the one person you would like to smoke a cigar with? The one person that it might be hard to get in touch with.
Oh, Bill Burr. Alive, Bill Burr. Bill Burr's the man, and he smokes cigars. So yeah, it'd be a good time.
And then we got another question here. What soil conditions do you prefer for your cigars?
So let me just qualify what I'm saying here is that I am not an agronomist, so this is not my area of expertise. That said, again, it really depends on what you're trying to do. Like in Jalapa, for instance, where we grow a lot of tobacco, Corojo specifically, it's very sandy. It's a reddish soil, and it's really, plus the climate conditions are really good for growing for wrapper quality leaf. So if you're looking to grow wrapper, you're looking for something that I hate this word because it's so abused, but more Cuban-esque. It's going to be more up in Jalapa. If you want something more kind of quintessential Nicaragua with that kind of spice and that earth, Esteli has got that volcanic soil. It's very dark and rich. So it really just depends what you're going for when you're growing, when you're growing tobacco. You know, are you growing for your own use? Are you growing for certain blends? Are you growing to sell? Like it all depends really. I mean, for growers, what they mainly want to grow is wrapper, unless it's purely for self-consumption. If you're selling tobacco, generally speaking, you want to sell wrapper. If that's all you do, if like in our case, we don't sell wrapper. We only use it for our own production. We sell binder and filler to everybody else.
Okay, so that explains the second question because he was asking, especially the wrapper. So you answered.
Yeah, wrapper quality. I mean, the soil is one thing, but also the temperature and the overall climate conditions are very important for that because as you get hotter and more direct sun exposure, it gets tougher to grow.
Well, I lost you for a second. You came back in though.
Sorry, it gets tough to grow wrapper quality leaf when if it's too hot. Like if you look at Ecuador, it's perfect for growing wrapper because of the climate conditions. They have a lot of cloud coverage. You look at New England, you look at the Connecticut River Valley. It's good for wrapper production. Nicaragua, obviously, because we grow a lot of wrapper, it can be done there, but it's not as easy a proposition. Like for instance, we have a shade grown Corojo Maduro wrapper. That's a proprietary wrapper we only use on a few of our brands, and it took us years to get enough of that to develop so that we could utilize it. Because if the yield is too low, it's a waste and you end up losing money.
Phenomenal stuff. Now, what do you think 2021 is going to bring for you?
Well, if you asked me what 2020 was going to bring, it wouldn't have been what happened. So, for me, I kind of just take it a day at a time. We have some projects that'll go into next year, and we're trying to always look at where there's an opportunity within the market, what consumers are looking for, what they'd be excited about, and obviously deal with the climate of the of the world at the time. So we just kind of take it a day at a time.
Now, do you think you guys are on pace to not necessarily money wise, but like production wise? Do you think you guys are on a good pace with your production right now, even though COVID's going on?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is for sales, for growth, for everything. It's our best year ever. I mean, it hasn't. It's probably because, to be fair, we were on an upward trajectory coming into the year, so it's probably slowed that growth, but certainly the growth is still there. And whether it's growing, manufacturing cigars, what we're selling, it's all record years.
Yeah, because I've been hearing from a lot of our cigar guys that they've kind of had like two sets of people. So just in case some people have to get quarantined, the other set of people can step in. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of handles it, whatever makes sense for them. I mean, for us, we separate people more. We temperature check at the door. So there's a lot of things that happen that to make sure hand washing. They have mandatory hand washing way more than they used to, and just things like that to make sure that nothing happens. And if anybody is sick, they can't come in. But again, fortunately, there hasn't been that overall an impact in Nicaragua, which is good because they don't have the health system down there that they have here. And again, any death is one too many. But it's one thing when it's a few people, and it's another thing when people are dying in the streets. So it hasn't been that, knock on wood, that way in Nicaragua.
For real. Now let's talk a little bit of sports too. So what did we think about the Tom Brady move?
So Tom Brady may be the greatest man in history, but I wish him well. I hope the Patriots play him in the Super Bowl. But it is what it is. I mean, one, he didn't look too good last year. It was probably the most human he'd ever looked, and I think he was ready to kind of move on to an environment that was really maybe a little bit more conducive to him. And I think the team was looking to the future. So, things just don't work out sometimes, and it is what it is. I think Cam Newton's going to be awesome. I think he signed a deal that basically requires him to have a good year if he wants to have a big contract for next year, either with us or whoever else. And he's very versatile. He can do a lot of things. If the play doesn't develop the way they want, he can kind of run. He can run. He can he's hard to take down. So I think it's going to be great. I think we're going to have a great year. The only thing that concerns me is all these guys quit on defense that because of COVID. So that has me a little concerned. But I mean, they find a way to win every year. That's why they're America's team.
So you think Tom Brady could beat us in the Super Bowl?
No, well, I don't think. I don't think that they're that. I think they're overstating their case in Tampa. I mean, I hope he does great, and I would never doubt him. He's a great man. But I mean, Gronk is coming out. He's been gone a couple of years. I mean, if you're thinking of Gronk like circa 2011 or something like that, that's not going to be the case. And again, plus the whole environment of how playing in stadiums the way they are and everything. There's a lot of X's factors. I'd love to see a Patriots-Tampa Super Bowl and the Patriots win. That's what I'd love to see.
I totally agree. Like I told everybody, once Tom Brady left New England, I'm a Patriots fan. I love Tom Brady, but when it comes down to it, I move with my team. We don't abandon our team because we abandon our player,
Yeah. And again, I think it came out. It didn't make sense. I mean, I think it's probably a better situation for both of them. I think he's going to have a lot of weapons down there that he probably was going to have with us, and they're probably going to be more willing to let him bring in his whole team of dietitians and everything he has that Belichick wouldn't let him do, and so I think both of them will probably be happy.
When you coming back to New England?
Actually, I'll be there next week, but briefly, I'm going to be in Connecticut, and then I go down to New York. So I'll actually be very briefly up there next week.
Oh, and then
is Connecticut New England? I don't know. It depends what part you're. I guess it's kind of
like
a
I tell
Giants
everybody,
fans. A lot of Giants fans down there.
Yeah, I feel like they're mixed. The only thing I hate, like I always tell people, is if you're going to be a Patriots fan, you need to be a Red Sox fan, you need to be a Celtics fan, you need to be a Bruins fan. If you're going to be a Yankees fan, you need to be a New York team fan across the board because they have a whole bunch of choices. We're giving you extra choices. You got the Mets, you got the Yankees, you got this, you got that. You can intertwine them. The worst thing that I ever see in my life is when you have a Patriots fan and a Yankees fan. It's like, to me, it's just like, what is going on here? Did you just pick the team favorites? Is that?
Yeah. You just pick you're the winners. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I have a great time when I go to Connecticut, but there's definitely kind of like there's a good You have people that are all New England fans. They're all New York fans, and then you have guys that like the Patriots and the Bruins, but then they like the Jets and the Yankees or whatever, or the the Knicks and the Yankees. So it's kind of weird. It's like you got to pick. You got to pick a side.
Now, do you guys do tours at Aganorsa?
We don't do formalized like the way Drew Estate has like their cigar safaris and things. Like we that's the logistics of that are very difficult, and they have a whole staff and things for that, and we don't have that. But we do during Puro Sabor we do tours, and if people are down there, like there's a lot of retailers that just go down to Esteli for a week and go visit people, and we always are conducive to having people come by. To be honest with you, we're going to try to do some retailer trips next year. It was a definite until COVID. We don't know how that's going to work out now, but we'd like to do more of that. But if people are down there or going down there and they want to come by, I always set up for people to visit, because one of the best ways to show people what we do is to have them see it firsthand.
Now, what do you recommend if you go down there, like safety wise? Because obviously it's not it's not like Cuba. Like I was walking around Cuba at 4:00 in the morning and I had no.
Yeah, it's a police state. Yeah, that's the benefits of a police state. In Nicaragua, I mean, overall, it's very safe, specifically for us. Up until they had some political problems a couple of years ago, it was the safest country in Central America. And then even with the political problems, it was more internal. Like I've been down there, God, dozens of times, and I've never felt unsafe. At least in Esteli. I mean, Esteli is out. It's about 2 to 3 hours north of Managua, depending on the skill and courage of your driver. And once you're there, I mean, I've been out in the morning in Esteli all over the place. I've never had any problems or seen anything that I would be, nervous about when I've been up there. So it would be more in terms of like making sure you get a full experience. Like going during like Puro Sabor Festival is great because you get to see a ton of factories and they bust around everywhere, so you don't have to think about anything. Or getting together, with like a retailer. Sometimes they bring guys down and they do a trip and like they just get to Esteli and then people will bring them by the factory or whatever and things like that. So I wouldn't be too concerned in that sense. You just want to like at least you don't want to show up down there and be like, okay, how do I get to Esteli? You want to have kind of a plan of how to do that going in. But other than that, it's pretty easy.
Now with two guys smoke shop, so you do a lot of events with two guys. I noticed over the last few years.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? They got to be one of your close to top sellers, I would say, right?
Yeah, they're a great account for us. Dave and Ed and Barry and all the guys there have been Mike when he was there until he couldn't do the commute from Boston anymore. They have a great staff. They have, they're great people. They're people that you can work with very easily, and they've been very good to us. I mean, I'll tell you, when I joined the company, they were one of the first companies that really jumped on board with us right away, and I'll always appreciate that because in the beginning, it was not. Now thankfully we've really started to develop a nice following and have a lot of very passionate consumers that are. We'll go in stores and look for our products and ask for Aganorsa. And it becomes a lot easier when people are doing that. When I first joined, the company really hadn't done much with their own brands for several years in terms of, really marketing them and promoting them. And so for a lot of people, they hadn't heard of it. And so they took a chance to bring us in. They didn't have to do that. And I'll always appreciate that. And I try to always serve them well.
When do you think you'll make it out to two guys?
Actually, I think I'll be in there in November. I'll be out. I'll be up in New England or New Hampshire in November.
So I have to make a trip up there. So you'll probably hit twins, two guys.
Yeah, those again. We're very lucky. All those guys in New Hampshire's the last free state in New England. You've got two guys. You got
last
twins.
free state in the world.
Yeah. You got Tobacco Haven. You've got Castro's Backroom. So all those guys have been really supportive of Aganorsa, and I'd love to get up there. I just New York is going to like 70% tax in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to get in there and show some support before that happens. So this trip is New York, and to be honest with you, sometimes I end up going to New Hampshire because I love going there so much. I spend I think my last 3 trips have been in New England have included New Hampshire, which means if I'm including New Hampshire, I'm not going somewhere else. And so this trip, because I'll be in New Hampshire in a couple months, this trip doesn't have New Hampshire.
What do you usually pair with your cigars? Like when you're smoking, what's your favorite pairing?
Of anything or booze, or you mean alcohol?
Doesn't matter. What would you go if you wake up? Say you don't smoke it in the morning. We'll say middle of the day, just so you don't automatically go to coffee. What's your choice?
I mean, middle of the day, I would probably be something. It'd probably be like a beer or something like that. I mean, so let me answer the question this way. A good pairing of I think Scotch is the easiest pairing with cigars. I think they naturally go together really well. But certain bourbons, certain rums, some beers, not all beer, like really to me, hoppy beers. I enjoy like New England IPAs. I think they're great, but like they're not to me a natural beer pairing, cigar pairing. You have to kind of make sure you're matching the cigar with a New England IPA more. You can't just pick anything. And then I love in the morning with coffee. So really just depends who I'm with. How hot it is outside. Where I am. The selection. So there's a lot of great different pairings. I can't say that I have one that I'm always going to, and that's it. But if you force my hand to say, like, if I could only have one, if I could have one alcoholic beverage, it would be probably scotch. If it's anything, it would be coffee. Coffee, I love with cigars.
Yeah, I love coffee with cigars. I'm actually drinking a coffee right now.
Dunkin' Donuts?
No, I don't do Dunkin' Donuts that much. I'm gonna be honest with you. Dunkin' Donuts to me is like a dessert coffee.
Yeah. I was just stereotyping because you're, it's New England and there's one on every corner.
I try, like, if I have a choice, I try to go to like a mom and pop shop or something like that. Try a cup of coffee, which down in Florida, dude, you know what I mean? Like, I've tried coffee all over the country. Like, in Florida, they have a place that's really, really, really good. It's called Alchemist.
Where is it?
Something Gardens.
Miami Gardens?
No.
Palm Beach Gardens?
I'm gonna have to look it up right now because now because if you're in Florida, like, you have to try it. I mean, you have to try it. Alchemist coffee shop. Boom. Alchemist coffee shop, and it's actually really cool. The location it's in. So they have one in Aventura.
Oh, Aventura, yeah, that's North Miami.
And then they have one in something Gardens. Let me find out where it is. And it's like in like this like outdoor like park type setting.
Huh.
So it's been selected the best coffee shop of Broward and Palm Beach counties.
It's probably Palm Beach Gardens. I'll bet you anything it's Palm Beach Gardens. If it ends in Gardens.
Alchemist Coffee Shop, Florida. Yeah, because you got to try it, dude. When I went there, I was mind blown. So there's one in Miami Beach. Then there's the locations. Let's see. It says some of the best beverages, Wilton Manors.
Oh, Wilton Manors. Yeah, I know where that's in. It's near Fort Lauderdale, I think, actually.
Yeah, I went there, man, and they had like the chemist, like the two chemist bowls.
Yeah.
God, and what they call them, beakers, right? That's what they call them.
Yeah.
So they had the two chemist bowls, and it was making the coffee up in there, and it's phenomenal. And then they had like a little like road outdoor, like with some palm trees and stuff, and it had like a whole bunch of shops in a line. It was pretty cool. I was like kind of shocked. I found that out of nowhere. I'm crazy, so I Google the best coffee shops for the distance I'm going. Like I've done that in Buffalo, I've done that in Chicago, I've done that in Oregon. Oregon had some good coffee. That's one thing I always try to do. I don't just try to do cigars, I try to do coffee because I freaking love coffee.
Who's got a lot of great coffee is Nashville.
Never been to Nashville. I was supposed to go to Nashville till COVID hit. I was going to go to that Drew Estate Bond Smoker. I was going to hit Nashville for 3 days, drive down to the Bond Smoker, come back to Nashville, finish out my trip. And that just never happened. I mean, I was supposed to go where? I was supposed to go to the Connecticut one. I was supposed to go to that other one there in not Louisiana, Kentucky.
Kentucky had one.
Yeah,
Louisiana had one too.
What was I going to say too? In Miami, there's a ton of places you can get authentic Cuban coffee. I make it here in California.
Yeah, so like in Miami, I ended up drinking a lot more, cortadito or Cuban coffee here because that they call American coffie, they call agua sucia, which is dirty water. They just feel it's too thin and
it is. It's too thin.
And so I ended up. I had to cut back because I'd have like a pot of regular coffee a day, and then I would have like 4 of those, and I could see through time. So I had to cut back a little bit. So now I have like maybe 2 Cuban coffees a day, and I have half a pot of coffee. So I've cut down quite a bit.
Yeah, the coffee thing's a big thing in the cigar community. I feel like it's one of them things that it's like you have to have a good cup of coffee with your cigar if you're gonna go that route. I drink the Dunkin' and I'm just like, Everybody don't run on Dunkin' because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even get a head start when I drink Dunkin'. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer Dunkin' over Starbucks. Just tastes burnt. It tastes like burnt coffee. Like it
So
has a.
I heard they use grade D beans, and it is burnt.
Yeah, I think they over roast it because that way they get kind of a consistent taste to it, I guess, and they make so many like mocha schmocha or joka things or whatever that I think that's where they make their money. So I don't really like Starbucks. If I had to pick between Dunkin' and Starbucks, I'd go Dunkin' every time. But I wouldn't say either one is probably not the best example of coffee.
Yeah, Miami's just got great everything, great food, great cigars, great vibes. I try to stay away from South Beach though, because it's just.
Bro, I don't go to South Beach for people that live here is like the strip in Vegas for people that live in Vegas. Like nobody. The last time I went to South Beach, it's got to be over a year or two. I mean, and it's really usually when somebody comes into town that's from out of town and they want to see South Beach, and so you take them down there and you walk on, Ocean Drive and all that stuff, and it's nice and everything, but like I to drive down there and the traffic and everything else. I mean, no, thank you.
My first trip to South Beach was pretty funny. So I go to South Beach, and I'm like, let me get breakfast. So I go to this place, I get breakfast, I drink a couple mimosas, shot of tequila, and bacon and eggs. You know what the bill was?
How much?
$85.
Yeah, yeah, that's another reason not to go. It's like outrageously expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy. So after that, I decided I was like, okay, well, I got the money. The money's not the issue. When I go on vacation, I have kind of like I'm not going to go out and buy a bottle of Louis the 13th. I'm not
Yeah,
going to brag or not and say like I'm going out and doing that because I'm not. Um, but I do, tend to try to find a place that's reasonable with good quality food. And I ended up in Cali Ocho.
all right.
And I was freaking in Cali Ocho when I went to Miami the first time, the whole trip. I didn't even leave. I went to South Beach, stopped, was like, yeah, this ain't for me. I hopped in the Uber, went to Cali Ocho, and I was there for 4 days.
Did you go to Titan the Bronze when you were there?
I didn't even know about that one. The first time I went to Miami was 2016.
Okay.
And I didn't even know about that. I actually still haven't been there. I've been to Guantanamera.
Yeah, you're going down there. Yeah.
I'm good friends with the owner. So I go there usually at least once when I arrive. I went to Cuban cigar. What's it called? They make their own blends there.
Cuban Crafters.
Cuban Crafters. I've been to Cuban Crafters.
There's a Little Havana Boutique, which is a really nice shop down there. There's a bunch of nice shops down there, and then there's like a few factories like you said. But Titan de Bronze, they buy tobacco from us too, and they do some really cool stuff. They're a good one to go visit.
Yeah, I had that. That was where Willie Herrera started, right?
Yeah, Willie, yeah.
Yeah, I have to. The next that's going to be my number one thing. I'm actually coming to Florida next month. COVID restrictions kind of like killed the situation, but you got to do what you got to do if you want to travel.
Yeah.
So I have to get swabbed within 72 hours before I come back to Massachusetts, which I think is kind of crazy. I work in the hospital every day.
Yeah. If anything, they should be worried about you.
My exposure all day. Yeah, my exposure chance is all day, not in a 4-day trip.
Yeah.
My exposure chance is 40 hours, 60 hours, 30 hours a week, whatever I work.
Yeah.
And then I have to get a COVID swab. But whatever, if that's what they want me to do to go to keep people safe, it is what it is. I'm gonna do it. I just wake up Friday morning or Saturday morning and just get swabbed and come back to Boston after that. But I'm actually gonna probably meet up with Cigar Prop up towards the Tampa area. Check that out. What shops are you in Tampa?
Oh God, there's the Tobacco Depot locations. There's the Davidoff Lounge over there, owned by Coronas. That has an awesome selection of our stuff.
That place is really nice.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous place. Tobacco Depot has like a ton of different locations around there. Cigar Castle, we have our brands there. We have a really good selection of our product in the Tampa area.
Yeah, I haven't been to much in Tampa. I've only went to a couple of boutique shops. I think I went to like King something.
King Coronas.
Yeah, King Coronas.
Yeah, that's down in Ybor City. Yeah, that's down there. That's a really nice shop. It's in the more touristy area.
Hmm. Yeah, but I didn't really find it like Miami.
No, it's man. Tampa's another world, man. Nothing's like Miami. Miami is like a. I mean, just to give you an idea, in my office, only I would say out of like about 15, 16 total people, like only 5 of them speak English.
Now, do you speak Spanish?
I speak it well enough to I've lived in Dominican. Yeah, I lived in Dominican for almost a year, and my wife is Argentine, and I live in Miami, so I speak it well enough to survive.
That's what's up. Um, Anything else you want to get across? I mean, I don't want to keep you here all night. I mean, I know you probably got to go. I probably know you probably got to go down to South Beach. It's Friday night. You got to go party.
Include me out. I ain't going to South Beach, bro. I ain't going to South Beach. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, my biggest thing is if anyone watching is stay in touch. Like our biggest thing is my only job really is to or the only way I measure success is the enthusiasm of the consumer, and so. A big part of that is staying in touch and with social media and these type of meetings and things like that. That really helps to not only meet people but also to have them stay in touch with Aganorsa Acolytes, our Facebook group. Join that. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Aganorsa Leaf. And if you have questions or comments or concerns or anything, always reach out to us on there, and we love to hear from you.
Yeah, I definitely look forward. I'm definitely gonna have to chime in with you next time I hit Miami.
Yeah, just give me a heads up.
Maybe you could take me around a couple shops.
Yeah, just give me a heads up when you're coming down. I would still give it a couple months because if you go to Cayocha right now, it's basically it's nothing like it. I mean, like Ball and Chain is closed and the cigar shops are open, but it's mostly the local guys and things like that. It's nothing like you would remember from when you were there in 2016 right now. But they're starting to open up.
I actually was there. So I was in Miami. I went to the Smoke In event. Did you go to that event?
Yeah, I'm there every year. Yeah. Which one? When were you there?
Before COVID, right before COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I didn't get to see you there. I didn't get to see
it's a human lasagna. It's like 1,000 people. So
human lasagna. I like that one. Yeah, that event is incredible.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the other thing is, I mean, the consumer comes in, he gets his cigars, and then he goes and has, the booze and gets a massage and listens to the music, and so it's not for there. It's really
and a haircut.
You get a haircut. Yeah, you can have it. You can basically there's a dunk tank some years. I mean, so you get to have a great time, and so I think people kind of get their cigars and they go and hang out and have a great time. So it's a great event.
Awesome. So Nasty Snipes, which is Mike Collins, says Supreme Leaf is his top 5 stick. 100.
No, I appreciate that, man. I'm telling you, that's the best thing we can hear is when somebody says, "Hey, I tried one of your cigars," or somebody told me to try it, and I really enjoyed it. And top 5 of the year. I'm sure you're smoking a lot of cigars, so that's a great group to be in.
Oh yeah, he's hammering cigars. He hammers cigars. He likes the Cubans. I I said, I don't do the Cuban thing, but he likes the Cubans.
Hey, listen, as long as you're smoking, you're on the right side.
To each his own. Bro. Yeah, do you guys have a Cuban type blended cigar, like something that's like supposed to kind of be?
So because the guys that all work for us, he passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. But Arsenio Ramos, who was a top level Cuba tobacco guy, he was in charge of fermentation over there. He'd been with us for about 20 years. This gentleman, Jacinto Iglesias, another farmer, Chandito Gomez. These are all guys that had like a lifetime of Cuban experience in the tobacco industry in Cuba. And then they came and we gave them the resources that we had in Nicaragua. And so we're kind of like a synthesis of a Cuban style. Like their profiles are Cuban. I mean, that's what they've been smoking for their whole life until they came to work with us. And so that's what their kind of mentality is in terms of how to grow tobacco, what type of flavors you want to develop in it. But they're also using Nicaragua soil and climate. So you have kind of this nice synthesis of Nicaragua and Cuba with our blends.
Yeah, I wonder. The other thing I wonder is, wonder if it was weird to them to start smoking Nicaraguan tobacco from going from such a light, not as like heavy duty product, and then to change their palates like that to like.
Well, you have to. So when they came over to work with us, it was in the late '90s, and so back then, like the strong cigars were Cuban. Like people would say, like, Cubans, that's too strong, because it was mostly very mild Connecticut shade wrappers with light fillers. And then as the industry changed, that's when you started to see the stronger cigars develop. So they kind of were there for that process of developing stronger tobacco and stronger blends. But back then, Cuba was definitely a stronger cigar compared to what most of it was on the market in the 90s. Now it's like you just said, it's like, well, it's kind of mild for me because the industry. I mean, if you look at Flor Dominicana, which makes some of the strongest cigars you can have, that style that they have and they're known for was basically unknown in the 90s, and certainly not from the Dominican Republic, really. I mean, maybe Opus, and other than that, there was really nothing else that was strong back then.
Now, you guys going to do a firecracker for Dave?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll see those guys in November, and we'll see if what comes out.
Put in the sales pitch. Boom.
We'd love to. For us, it's like the door is always open. We want to make it work. I never push too hard for anybody to do anything. I just try to make it easy when they work with us, that it's a good experience and they come back, because that's really the key thing. And if it's the long-term relationships in this business, you're not selling yachts. I mean, it's not like you make a few $1 million and you're like, okay, I'm set for a couple of years or something like that. You're selling a product that any one sale doesn't really make one bit of a difference. It's that guy enjoying it and coming back. And so on the retail side, it's kind of the same thing. If you make a line for somebody and it doesn't work out, well, you've lost that business, and it really wasn't that much business, to start with in the grand scheme of things. But if you do a project with them and they really enjoy working with you and they're enthusiastic about the experience, well, then you keep that business, and that's really where the long-term success comes from, is making sure you maintain those relationships and serve the clients well.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go, but I wanted to say I appreciate you. I think you're doing a great job. Make sure you stuff that swag up into the market, man.
We'll work on some swag. We'll work up some
keep
swag.
slanging them good cigars, man.
No, I thank you for having me. It was probably the greatest night of our lives. I don't want to exaggerate it or anything, but I think it was probably the greatest day of our lives to do this.
Thank you very much, brother.
You didn't agree with me. You're supposed to agree. You're supposed to go, oh, yeah, greatest day of our lives.
So the greatest day of my life will be to meet with you and drink a shit ton of liquor and smoke a shit ton of cigars.
I like the cut of your jib.
It'd be like a 10-pack of cigars, and a 750 milliliter bottle or something amazing.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
13th. No.
Yeah.
We want to have a bank account after we're done.
Yeah. I got to sell a lot of cigars to justify the Louis the 13th.
So I'm going to pull you out. I'm going to talk to you for a couple seconds after we're done. Like I said, I appreciate having you on the show. Everybody who came and joined the podcast. As we said before, AganorsaLeaf.com. You can check them out. And if you haven't tried Aganorsa Leaf, go try it. Great products. Great guy, Terrance. And he's from the New England area, so support him.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Well, yep, thank you. So there you have it. Great episode. Terrance, great guy. Shout out to Terrance for coming on the show. Check out Aganorsa Leaf. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. As I said, I do everything off the cuff. Nothing was written down. This was just good conversation, good podcast. And last but not least, go Patriots.